तस्मै श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथां नितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं
कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री
श्रीराधा कृष्ण सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखां नितांश नमामि विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतुसे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका राधा कांत
नमोस्तुते
सप्तकांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे so we have completed till which one? And of first just a minute. Yeah, so first chapter is over, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
And second chapter we have started?
No, Prabhuji.
Not yet, no? Okay. So we have done how many sessions till now?
Four sessions, Prabhuji.
4 are over, na? Okay. Just a minute, I will adjust in the... Okay. Somebody has question something? Somebody has raised the hand.
Yes, Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes.
Prabhuji, it's from 17 text. 17 text, purport, last 2-3 lines. Incarnations like Brahma, Rudra, Manu, Prathu, and Vyasa are his material qualitative incarnations. Prabhuji, material, what is material qualitative incarnations? Why they are called material qualitative incarnations?
Yeah, Brahma, Rudra.
1.117.
Yeah, see, as far as I understand, here these are all the either Gunavataras or they are the Shaktavesh avatars. Yeah? Prithvi Shaktavesh avatar of Palan Shakti. Vyasadeva is literally incarnation. So these are the Shaktavesh avatar, or this is like Guna avatar, where you see Brahma and Rudra are what? They are Guna avatar. Manu, Prithu, Vyas, they are Shaktavesh avatar. So they are there to perform some activity in the material world, some purpose to be fulfilled. But the incarnations like Ram, Narsingh, Vara, Vaman, they are Leela avatars. They are like just they come for pleasure, giving pleasure to the Lord, or pleasure to the devotees. So, but like Brahma, Rudra, Brahma is for what? Creation. Rudra for destruction. They are connected to matter, material cosmos. Manu, Prithu, Vyas, they are like not exactly Lord himself, but they are Shaktavesh, means some living entity who is empowered to do some activity. So the difference between these and which are given later, Narsingh, Vaman, Vara, they just come for Leela. So there is difference between Leela avatar, who just come by the free will, Leela avatara, and then there are Guna avatar. Guna avatar means they are specific, some material activities are given, like creation, destruction, and like that. So that's why they are called as material quality. Material, here is Prabhupada is saying, his material qualitative incarnations. So we had seen last time, I think, 6 types of incarnations. Here only we are discussing. So in that Guna avatars are who? Brahma, and then Lord Shiva, they are Guna avatars. So that's why they are, that's why Prabhupada is writing there, because for material cosmos, maintenance and destruction, they are called. Yes. Achha, some more question. Yeshika, yeah. Is that okay, Mataji, your question? Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, okay. And somebody else is Vraj Gauri. You also come question?
Guruji, I have a question. So, based on the discussion we had right now, so Shaktavesh avatars are Vibhinna Ansh avatar, or they are not Saunsh avatar, right?
Yeah. Vibhinna Ansh means, yeah, Vibhinna Ansh. The some living entity is empowered. That's why Shakti Avesh means जिसमें शक्ति का आवेश हुआ है, इसलिए शक्ति आवेश. 99% they are like the living entities who are empowered. Shakti Avesh.
Okay.
So
Okay.
तुम्हारा याद है, Narad Muni also Shakti Avesh avatar, and Chatush Kumara, Shakti Avesh avatar. Means some living entity given extraordinary power, like that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So we'll go ahead. Divinity and divine. So second chapter we'll start. I'm just give me time. I'm just in the view. Yeah. So tomorrow I am going out somewhere. So that's why today only we'll cover a little more. Tomorrow I'm going out somewhere. So we'll try to cover at least half. It has 34 total verses. And unit 1 has first 2 chapters only, right, Anush bro?
I'll have to check. Won't remember.
Yeah. Unit 1 has first 2 chapters. So we have to complete basically first 2 chapters. We have time. So this is 34
Prabhuji,
verses.
I have one more question, last question. Prabhuji, you told us Rom Harshan story, where we can find it, I mean, complete story.
That is quite famous story. I don't exactly know where to find that. Lord Balram killing, Rom Harshan, that one?
Yes, Prabhuji.
I will have to see reference. But the story is famous quite.
Yes.
How Balram kills. I'm not sure the reference. I'll check. Okay, so chat में क्या लिखा है? I'm not seeing claim with option. अच्छा, Sandeep Sambus Prabhu. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Rom Harshan, that story in 10th canto.
अच्छा, 10th canto, huh? Okay. Your number was chapter number, you can tell?
Don't know. but it is in 10th canto.
Acha, it's in 10th canto, Prabhuji is saying. Yeah. So, okay. So, Anush, Prabhu, I have made you the host. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, so we'll go with the second chapter verse. Everybody has the Bhagavatam? Okay. Yeah, canto Divinity 10. Vyasa Uvacha. You can repeat after me.
Vyasa Vacha.
Yeah, 6th question. Yeah. Vyasa Uvacha. Iti samprashna samrishto.
Samprishto.
Vipranam Romaharshani.
Vipranam Maharshi.
Kati Pujya Vachastesham. Pravaktum Upachakrame. Yes, okay. So Anuj, you can start with.
Translation. Ugrishravas Sut Goswami, the son of Romharshana, being fully satisfied by the perfect questions of the Brahmanas, thanked them and thus attempted to reply. Purport. The sages of Naimisharanya asked Sut Goswami's 6 questions, and so he is answering them one by one.
So which are the 6 questions we had seen last time? Anybody remembers? What is the first question? Oh, forgot. Yeah, Vraji Gauri.
What is the ultimate good for everything in Kali Yuga?
What is the ultimate good for the humanity? Yeah, that was the first. What is the second? Yashika, what now? Yes.
Prabhuji, in 11th verse, explain the essence of all scriptures for the good of all living beings.
What is the essence of all scriptures? First is what is good for, ultimate good for humanity, the essence of all scriptures. And then third, you can tell somebody else.
Why did Lord appear in the womb of
Devaki? Yeah. Why did Lord appear? That is the third question. Why Lord appears? What is the purpose of his appearance? And fourth, what is the fourth question? Shobha Lakshmi Mataji.
Please describe the Lord's various incarnations.
Yeah, but which? First is Purusha Avtaras. That is the fourth question. And then again, fifth is, please describe about Leela Avtaras. So 2 types of Avatar, Purusha Avatar and Leela Avatar. Purusha Avatar is as we saw that, Karma Rakshai, Shiro Rakshai, Garbha Rakshai, Vishnu. And then 6th one. What is the 6th one?
where did the after the disappearance of the Lord, where did the religious principle take shelter?
Krishna Sudham Pagari, Dharma Jnana Adivisa. Right. Yeah. So where the religious principles took shelter after the Lord disappeared. So these were the 6 questions. So now here, Sudha Goswami will now start answering. So before that, he will again pray, offer obeisances to his Guru, Srila Shukadeva Goswami. And then he will start like that. So nice verses are there. Yes. Suta Uvacha. Yam pravajantam anupetam apeta krityam. Vaibhava virahakatar ajuhava. Putreti tanmayataya taravo vinedus.
पुत्रेति तनया
तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि
तं सर्वहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि.
Yeah. This Sandeep Prabhu, Sandeep Sambus.
Hare Krishna. Srila Sud Goswami said, "Let me offer my respective obeisances unto the great sage Sukadeva Goswami, who can enter the hearts of all. When he went away to take up the renounced order of life, sannyas, leaving home without undergoing reformation by the sacred thread of ceremonies observed by the higher caste, like his father Vyasdeva, hearing separation from him, cried out, 'O my son, indeed only the trees which were absorbed in the same feelings of separation echoed in response to the bereaved father.' Purport. The institution of Varna and Ashram prescribed many regulative duties to be observed by the followers. Such duty enjoin that a candidate willing to study the Vedas must approach a bona fide spiritual master and request acceptance as his disciple. The sacred thread is the sign of those who are competent to study the Vedas from the Acharya or the bona fide spiritual master. Sri Sukadeva Goswami did not undergo such purificatory ceremonies because he was liberated soul from his very birth. Generally, a man is born as an ordinary being, and by the purificatory process, he is born for the second time. When he sees a new light and seeks direction from spiritual progress, he approaches a spiritual master for instructions in the Vedas. The spiritual master accepts only the sincere inquirer as his disciple and gives him the sacred thread. In this way, a man becomes twice born or a dvija. After qualifying a dvija, one may study the Vedas, and after becoming well versed in the Vedas, one becomes vipra. A vipra or a qualified brahmana thus realizes the absolute and makes further progress in spiritual life until he reaches the Vaishnava stage. The Vaishnava stage is the postgraduate state of Brahmana. A progressive Brahmana must be necessarily become a Vaishnava, for the Vaishnava is the self-realized, learned Brahmana. Srila Sukadeva Goswami. Srila Sukadeva Goswami was a Vaishnava from the beginning. Therefore, there was no need for him to undergo all the process of Varnashrama institution. Ultimately, the aim of Varnashrama Dharma is to turn the crude man into a pure devotee of the Lord or the Vaishnava. Anyone, therefore, who becomes a Vaishnava accepted by the first class Vaishnava or the Uttam Adhikari Vaishnava is already considered a Brahmana, regardless of his birth or past deeds. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted this principle and recognized Sri Haridas Thakur as the Acharya of Holy Name. Although Thakur Haridas appeared in the Mohammedan family. In conclusion, Sri Sukadeva Goswami was born a Vaishnava and therefore Brahmanism was included in him. He did not have to undergo any ceremonies, any low-born person to be Kirat, Hun,
Nandra Pulinda Pulkasha, Abhira Shumba Yavanaksade.
Or even lower, can be delivered to the higher transcendental position by the mercy of Vaishnavas. Sri Sukadeva Goswami was the spiritual master of Sri Sud Goswami, who therefore offered his respectful obeisances unto the Sri Sukadeva Goswami before he begins his answers to the questions of the Sega Naimisharanya.
This verse is there. Kirat Huna Andra Pulinda Pulkasha. Abhira Shumba Yavanakta Sataya Yenecha Papa Yadapasaya Shaya Shuddhanti Tasmai Prabha Vishnave Namaha. So these are all categories Prabhupada gives in one purport. Who are Kirata, Huna, Andhra. Andhra is from Andhras are people from Andhra. So please don't feel bad if you are from Andhra. So it was like this doesn't apply to the Vaishnavas. But otherwise, these people they are mentioned are very degraded because of their background. But when they actually take shelter of the Lord, then they rise above all this conditioning. The Mongolian, Chinese, and all that Prabhupada writes, all these are mentioned. So here, Prabhupada is writing about who is a Brahmana, Varnashram, because here Shukadeva Goswami is described as one who is above Varnashram. He is one of the topmost Vaishnavas. So he actually didn't undergo all these purificatory processes. So as it is said, Kalau Shudra Sambhavat. One who is born actually in Kali Yuga is a Shudra at the best. Kalau Shudra Sambhavat. Then Samskarat iti Samskarat Bhave Dvija. Samskarat Bhave Dvija means by samskar, by the purificatory process, one gets this Janai when he becomes Dvija, twice born. Samskarat Bhave Dvija, Veda Pathati iti Vipra. Then he becomes Vipra. One who reads Veda, starts reading Veda, he becomes Vipra. And then ultimately Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. From Shudra, one goes to the stage of Dvija, and from Dvija to Vipra, and from Vipra to Brahmana. So like that, Dvija means twice born. One who has got samskar. But actually Shastras also tell there are some other Dvijas. Dvija means twice born. So one is when we take birth from the mother, and second is when we get the thread from the spiritual master. That is also called second birth. So, but it is two more entities are called Dvija, twice born. In Sanskrit, who are else are called Dvija? Okay, Shubha Lakshmi Mataji.
The birds.
Birds are called Dvija. They are also twice born. Once directly from the mother, and then from the egg. So they are also, and something else is called Dvija. Who else is twice born?
Prabhuji, a Vaishnava. First material, then initiated.
That is for here Brahmana is said. But teeth are also called Dvija in Sanskrit. They are also twice born. 2 times everybody gets teeth, na? So these teeth and birds, they are called Dvija. Anyways, so here Shukadeva Goswami is topmost of Vaishnavas. So he didn't undergo all these purificatory processes. There are actually 40 samskaras, 40 samskaras are there total. Out of which 16 are now main, primary. So from Garbhadhan Sanskar to Antya Samskar. There are like these 16 main samskaras. Anybody knows some names? Some grahasthas might be following strictly. Somebody knows 16 samskaras. First is Garbhadhan. Then there is
Vivaha Samskar.
Stage by stage. From
Garbhadhan.
Prabhuji,
Jatakarma.
Jatakarma.
Jatakarma nantar.
Prabhuji, it has been mentioned in Vaishnava etiquette book.
Yeah, that's what we are revising. So anybody has that book?
Jatakarma nantar.
Yes, Prabhuji, give me the slide.
Acha, theek hai. The Mataji has that book. 16 samskaras you read slowly, one by one.
Okay.
On that. First Garbhadhan, then Jatakarma, then Namkaran samskar. Check. Mataji, you have the book with you?
Namakaran Samskar.
Yes, Prabhuji, I got the book.
Yeah. Quickly.
Prabhuji, it has Shri Gopal Bhatt Goswami के कथानुसार 10 प्रमुख संस्कार निम्नलिखित हैं. First विवाह संस्कार, then गर्भाधान संस्कार, then सीमांतरण संस्कार.
What is that? What?
सीमांतोत्रयन संस्कार, जात कर्म संस्कार, नामकरण संस्कार, अन्नप्राशन संस्कार, मुंडन, विद्यारंभ संस्कार, उपनयन संस्कार, अंत्येष्टि क्रिया.
The sequence is totally
Yes, Prabhupada.
okay. Vivaha samskar, and then I think after Vivaha samskar there is Antyeshti only, right? Anyway, so 16 are there, primary samskar. The total are 40 something. So a normal person has to undergo. One should undergo all this samskar. They're very scientific. But a person like Shukdev Goswami, who stayed in the womb for 16 years, he was completely self-realized within the womb only. So for the purpose of all the sanskaras for which one does, that was already achieved inside the womb. So Lord himself had to come to beg him to come out. So Shukdev Goswami is such a high caliber. So once Vyasdev thought of testing him. So Vyasdev sends him to Janak Maharaj in Mithila. So Janak Maharaj is told that please test him. How renounced he is, how advanced he is. So when Shukdev Goswami reaches Janakpuri, Mithila, so there Janak Maharaj, what he does, he keeps Shukdev Goswami waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. For 4 or 5 days, he keeps him waiting outside only. And he doesn't come to meet him. So Shukdev Goswami is waiting outside the palace for 4 or 5 days. And then Janak Maharaj is observing from top, how is his reaction. Shukdev Goswami is completely renounced. He is Atmaram, na? Atmaramashcha munayo nirgranti apya urukrume kurvanti ahetukim bhaktim ittam bhuto kurno hari. So such Atmaram people, they are completely self-satisfied. So he was not disturbed that nobody is coming out. Why my father has sent here? I will not. I will go. I have so many other things. He didn't say like that. He just waited there. And then after a few days, when Janak Maharaj opened the doors of the palace, and he had a big reception, for Shukdev Goswami, and with all the dhol, nagade, and palki, and everything was brought, and with such a grand, pompous reception, they received Shukdev Goswami, and he observed the facial expression of Shukdev Goswami. There was no change in his facial expression. When he was told to wait outside, and when he was given a grand reception, at both times he was completely detached. We feel, chalo aa gaye at least. And we feel, oh, thank you, like that. But he didn't have any change of expression. And then second thing was, then Janak Maharaj told him to, he gave him a bowl full of milk. Milk was poured till the edge of the bowl. And he told that you please hold this bowl and go all over the palace and please come back, and not a single drop of milk should spill out. And that at various places, Janak Maharaj had kept various beautiful apsaras singing and dancing on the way. And when Shukdev Goswami went there, he just passed right from middle of them. But he didn't get disturbed at all, seeing the beautiful girls dancing. And he didn't get agitated. So he just went like that and came as it is, the milk didn't spill out. So दूसरा state test में pass हो गए. And then third test, anybody knows what is the third test, most difficult test?
Sugar one.
Huh?
Sugar.
Sugar. So now when we say sugar or sweet, the favorite sweet of yours, just imagine your favorite sweet. Of course, today is Ekadashi. But even if you remember your favorite sweet, immediately what happened? Mouth started secreting saliva. So actually sweet was kept on his tongue. And then Janak Maharaj observed his mouth. There was not single drop of saliva falling from his mouth because of the sweet kept on his tongue. Oh, that is so difficult. We may pass the first two, but the third one you cannot fake it. You cannot fake. So like that he passed all the tests. So Shukdev Goswami was so detached. But he only got attracted by hearing the beauty of the Lord. Varha pidam natvar vapu karnayo karnikaram vibrat vas kanak kapisham vaijayanti chamala randhran venu adhar sudaya purayan gopa vrindai vrindaranya ramanam swapadam pravishad gita kirti. So when this verse, when he heard like how Varha pidam natvar vapu, Lord is having that peacock feather and such beautiful his bodily feature, that time he got attracted to something. Otherwise he was not attracted to anything. So that's why here Sutta Goswami is glorifying Shukdev Goswami, that he was such a person that when he was born he just walked out. There was no happy birthday or anything. He just left the home, and Vyasdev was falling and crying out, "Oh my son, oh my son, oh my son." And only the echo came back, but Shukdev Goswami didn't come back. The echo of his father, the sound only came back. And here he says, even the trees, they were also feeling separation from Shukdev Goswami. Oh, Shukdev Goswami is living. So they also echoed in response. And that was the echo, same echo what his father was crying, "Oh my son, oh my son." So, yeah, so he's glorifying in few verses. I think these two verses he glorified. Sutta Goswami glorifies Shukdev Goswami. Third verse we know. Yasvanubhavam akhila shruti saramekam
Yasvanubhava kila sutisaramekam
adhyatma deepamati titirshatam tamu andham
Adhyatma-deepam tirisatam tam
samsarinam karunaya purana guhyam tam vyasa sunum upayami gurum munina. Lakshmi Mataji.
Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him, Shuka, the spiritual master of all sages, the son of Vyasadev, who out of his great compassion for those gross materialists who struggle to cross over the darkest regions of material existence, spoke this most confidential supplement to the cream of Vedic knowledge, after having personally assimilated it by experience. Sri Goswami practically summarizes the complete introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural supplementary commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. The Vedanta Sutras or the Brahma Sutras were compiled by Vyasadev with a view to presenting just the theme of Vedic knowledge. Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary on this theme. Srila Shukadev Goswami was a thoroughly realized master on the Vedanta Sutra, and consequently he also personally realized the commentary Srimad Bhagavatam. And just to show his boundless mercy upon bewildered materialistic men who want to cross completely over this end, he recited for the first time this confidential knowledge. There is no point in arguing that a materialistic man can be happy. No materialistic creature, be he the great Brahma or an insignificant ant, can be happy. Everyone tries to make a permanent plan for happiness, but everyone is baffled by the laws of material nature. Therefore, the materialistic world is called the darkest region of God's creation. Yet the unhappy materialist can get out of it simply by desiring to get out. Unfortunately, they are so foolish that they do not want to escape. Therefore, they are compared to the camel who relishes thorny twigs because he likes the taste of the twigs mixed with blood. He does not realize that it is his own blood and that his tongue is being cut by the thorns. Similarly, to the materialist, his own blood is as sweet as honey, and although he is always harassed by his own material creation, he does not wish to escape. Such materialists are called karmis. Out of hundreds of thousands of karmis, only a few may be tired of material engagement and desire to get out of the labyrinth. Such intelligent persons are called jnani. The Vedanta Sutra is directed to such jnani. But Srila Vyasdev, being the incarnation of the Supreme Lord, could foresee the misuse of the Vedanta Sutra by unscrupulous men, and therefore he personally supplemented the Vedanta Sutra with the Bhagavad Purana. It is clearly said in this Bhagavatam that this Bhagavatam is the original commentary on the Brahma Sutra. Srila Vyasdev also instructed the Bhagavatam to his own son, Srila Shukadev Goswami, who was already at the liberated state of transcendence. Srila realized it personally and then he explained it. By the mercy of Srila Shukadev, the Bhagavad Vedanta Sutra is available for all those sincere souls who want to get out of this material existence.
Okay. The natural community would be difficult for the past people to share a question. The Bhagavatam has been. Yeah. So Prabhupada is writing this Vedanta Sutra are like the sutras, formulas. So just like we have formula, na? E is equal to MC square or like that. Or we have science S is equal to UT plus half AT square. I had learned all these formulas. So like formula is like very small sutra. Or like Panini wrote 4,000 sutras. So like that, Vedanta Sutra, there are 550 Vedanta Sutras. Athado Brahma Jinyasa, Shastra Yonitva, Anandamaya Abhyasa, Janmadasya Yataha. And like that, there are 550 sutras, Vedanta Sutras, a formula written by Vyasdev. So now these contain the whole philosophy in essence. And those who are jnanis, intelligent, they actually understand just by seeing the sutras. So that's why Vyasdev wrote, because people who are jnanis, they like to find the meaning and then get great pleasure and then apply in their life. They are given very simple thing, they may not take it. So just like Narad Muni giving riddle, puzzle to whom? While preaching, whom Narad Muni gave riddle to solve?
No.
Riddle. There is one place where the fan is rotating, and then place from where one goes doesn't come back. The river which both sides it moves. Whom did he preach? Narad Muni made brahmacharis, all of them in one shot. You have to unmute.
Prachetas.
मुझे चार कुमार
Hari Ashwas and Shaval Ashwas. Never heard these names? The sons of Daksha. You didn't hear these names? Hari Ashwas, Shaval Ashwas. So they were given the riddle. First he created 10,000 sons. Daksha. They are called Hari Ashwas. And Narad Muni went and just gave a riddle to them. And they understood the riddle immediately. Understood that the message is renunciation. Go to Himalayas. They went directly. Daksha was so angry. Narad Muni, you made my sons into brahmacharis. He became so angry. Daksha. And then Daksha produced 1,000 more sons and sent for tapasya. Narad Muni went again and said, this time he didn't give riddle. What did he say this time? You have not heard this story. So Narad Muni says, you just follow your elder brothers if you are really intelligent. Oh, follow elder brothers. They also go to Himalaya. Daksha becomes so angry that Narad Muni, I am trying to create progeny and create sons with such great efforts, and you are making them all brahmacharis. I curse. So Daksha curses Narad Muni that you will never be able to stay at one place for more than 3 days. Narad Muni starts jumping, Hari Bol. He says, this is a benediction, this is not a curse. That's good. That means I will not be attached to any single place. And Prabhupada writes similarly that we are also taking the curses of the parents because we are making their children into brahmacharis and parents are cursing me. And same curse I am taking on behalf of Narad Muni. And that's why I am also not able to stay at one place. Although I have 108 centers where each place there is such a nice facility for me to stay. But I am not able to stay at one place. I have to keep traveling because of the curse. So the point is, the riddle, yes, singing up. He gives the riddle. So like that, Vyasdev has given riddle in 550 Vedanta Sutras. But later he understood that there is one problem. He has given these sutras in the form of riddles, but some people can construe some wrong meaning from that and preach something else from that. So he thought, oh, this should not happen. So then what he did? He gave commentary on that. And what is the commentary on Vedanta Sutra by Vyasdev? Which is the commentary?
Srimad Bhagavatam.
Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why it's called natural commentary. So by the author himself, author ने ही riddle दिया है, author ने riddle solve करके बताया है. So there is no confusion. कोई उसका कुछ और meaning नहीं निकाल सकता वेदांत सूत्र. So that's why Prabhupada is writing Shankaracharya, he didn't touch Srimad Bhagavatam. Because if he touches everything, Lord is how personal and everything. So he wrote commentary on Vedanta Sutras. That's what he predicted, Vyasdev. Na? Some people will misconstrue. So he did like that and wrote Sharirika Bhashyam and gave impersonal touch to that. But he didn't comment on Srimad Bhagavatam. And followers of Shankaracharya say this Bhagavatam is some modern Bobdev came, some Bobdev. And he has written this Bhagavatam, not Vyasdev. So nobody can actually give some wrong meaning of Vedanta Sutra if he reads Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a natural commentary by the author himself. The author himself is telling what it means, all the sutras. So basically, the Puranas and the Upanishads. So that is the the difference between Puranas and Upanishads. So Upanishads gives formula and Puranas gives story. Just like Prabhupada would say, just like in the court, there is what you call that Indian penal code, right? According to this number. 10. Anybody is lawyer here? You know, nobody is lawyer in our audience. So that is called Indian Penal Code. So their number is there. This, इसके तहत इस मुजरिम को ये सजा दी जाती है. Again, so that is like formula. But there are case histories which happened on that penal code. इस मुजरिम को कैसे सजा दी थी, उसने क्या किया था, then how this penal code was applied. So that is case history. So case history is the Puranas. And that penal code or formula is like the Upanishads, which give formula. Formula and case history, both are necessary. Otherwise, you cannot understand the formula. So that's why Srimad Bhagavatam is actually case history or the explanation of the Vedanta Sutra, which is natural commentary. That's why our Gaudiya Vaishnavas, nobody wrote commentary on Vedanta Sutra. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said there is no need, because already it's written by Vyasdev. So we need not write anybody commentary on Vedanta Sutra. Like that. So, so here Shukdev Goswami is praising, Sutta Goswami is praising his spiritual master, Shukdev Goswami, the son of Vyasdev, out of his great compassion for the broad materialists, who struggled to cross over the darkest region of the material, spoke this confidential supplement to the Vedic cream of Vedic knowledge after having personally assimilated by experience. So he not only just spoke it, but he assimilated personally, after having personally assimilated. He himself understood the Srimad Bhagavatam from his father, Vyasdev, and then actually understood, applied in his life, and then spoke it. So he is glorifying. And for whom? For those people who are struggling hard in this material world, who are in the darkest region of material existence. For them, this Bhagavatam is like the light or the lamp by which one can see the path. Okay, fourth. Narayanam namaskritya
Narayana Namaskritya
naram chaiva narottamam
Naram chaiva
Narottamam
devim saraswatim vyasam
Devim
Saraswati Vyasam
tato jaya mudirayet.
Tato
Jaya Mudira
Parameshwari Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Echo is coming. Yes. Yes.
Translation. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of consequence, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead. Narayana unto Nar Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Purport. All the Vedic literature and the Puranas are meant for conquering the darkest region of the material existence. The living being in the state of forgetfulness of his relation with God due to his being overly attracted to material sense gratification from time immemorial. His struggle for existence is material world in the perpetual, and it is not possible for him to get out it by making plans. If he at all wants to conquer this perpetual struggle for existence, he must re-establish his eternal relationship with God. And one who wants to adopt such remedial measures must take the shelter of literature such as Vedas and Puranas. Foolish people say that the Puranas have no connection with the Vedas. However, the Puranas are supplementary explanation of the Vedas intended for different types of men. All men are not equal. There are men who are conducted by the mode of goodness, others who are under the mode of passion, and others who are under the mode of ignorance. The Puranas are so divided that any class of men can take advantage of them and gradually regain their lost position and get out the hard struggle for existence. Srila Sutta Goswami shows the way of chanting the Puranas. This may be followed by persons who aspire to be preachers of the Vedic literatures and the Puranas. Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless Purana, and it is especially meant for them who desire to get out from the material entanglement permanently.
So here, before reciting, and he is offering obeisances, of course, to his spiritual master. He has offered Sukadeva Goswami. Now he is offering obeisances to Narayana. Narayanam namaskritya. One should offer it unto the personality of God, Narayan. And then unto Naranarayan Rishi. Narayan namaskritya naram chaiva narottam, who is the topmost of all human beings. That is Naranarayan Rishi. Devim Saraswatim, Saraswati Devi. And Vyasdev, Tato Jayam Mudiraye. So these are the personalities we should offer obeisances before beginning the Bhagavatam. So Tathapi Kirtayami Anga Yathamati yatha shrutam kirtim harem swam satkartum giram anya vidasatim. So here also Maitreya Muni is saying, Maitreya Muni, that he is thanking Vidura that because you are there, I am speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. Tathapi kirtayami ang yathamati yatha shrutam. I will speak as much as my intelligence goes. Kirtim harem swam satkartum giram anya vidhasati. He is saying otherwise I will speak so many nonsense things. Better I speak Srimad Bhagavatam. So he is thanking the audience. Maitreya Muni is thanking Vidura. And because of you I am speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise his tongue will speak so many other things. So like that, when before speaking Bhagavatam, one should thank the audience. Because of the audience, at Giram Anya Vidhasati. So this tongue doesn't become asati. If you will not speak something else. So the audience is very important. So you are all there, that's why I am able to speak Srimad Bhagavatam continuously. So I should thank all of you as the audience. So Maitreya Muni thanks Vidura. And here also Sudha Goswami is actually offering prayers and thanking his spiritual masters and the Lord for giving him this opportunity, and the Saraswati and then Vyasadeva. So prayers are very important before we begin Srimad Bhagavatam speaking. Because this Bhagavatam is not ordinary thing, ordinary book. So when we are speaking, we should offer prayer. So here we see second, third, fourth, fifth. This 4 verses. Here Sutta Goswami actually offers prayers before beginning. He doesn't directly jump into, okay, 6 questions you ask, I will answer all these 6 questions now. No, he is offering prayers before beginning Srimad Bhagavatam, and then he begins. So Prabhupada is writing about the Puranas and the Vedas. Just I told, na? Purana, Upanishads and Vedas, they contains all the formulas. And the explanation of those formulas are in the Puranas, like case studies and the penal code. So we cannot understand just the penal code, but we have to understand what happened under this penal code. Case history, is Mujrim ne aisa kiya, fir uska aisa saza di, ye penal code lagu ho gaya. Then we know. Janmad asya yatah is actually one of the Vedanta Sutra. But then this explanation, Srimad Bhagavatam, which begins with that only. The whole Bhagavatam actually is elaborated from that one Vedanta Sutra. You know? And others are also there, of course, included. So Srimad Bhagavatam is a Puran which elaborates on the Vedanta Sutra. Like that. So Prabhupada is also writing that foolish people say that Puranas have no connection with the Vedas. So what they say, the Jnanis, they say, see, this Vedanta Sutra or the Vedas or the Upanishads, actually they are directly given by the Lord. But these Puranas, they are not directly given by the Lord. So we don't accept the Puranas. Puranas are not bona fide. Only the Vedas are bona fide. The Upanishads are bona fide because they are Shruti. The Smriti, which are Puranas, we don't accept. Because if they accept Puranas, then they have to accept the personality of Godhead. In so many verses in Bhagavatam, the personality of Godhead is described. So they say, because this Shruti, this is not directly coming from the Lord's mouth. Vedas have come directly, so we accept that. The Jnanis say. So now what the Vaishnavas say? So the Vaishnavas say, see, Puranas, what is the meaning of, one of the meaning of Purana is one which completes Purna. Purna jo karta hai, wo Purana. So now one which completes the what? The Vedas. That is called Puranas. Now if you want to complete something, just like a ring is there, golden ring. If it is broken little bit. So if you want to complete the ring, what material you have to use for completing that ring? Yes?
Gold.
Gold only you have to use. You cannot use wood or something else, clay. When the gold ring is broken, you have to use gold to complete it. So similarly, the Puranas, they complete the Vedas. That means the Vedas, as much as the Vedas are bona fide, of the same qualities are the Puranas also. So we cannot say Puranas we don't believe and we believe only Vedas. And if Puranas are said to be complete, Purna jo karta hai Ved ko, then it has to be of the same quality of the Vedas. So it is also a bona fide. So Gyanis don't accept Puranas. They say only we accept Shrutis, not Smritis. Vedas, Upanishad they accept. They don't accept Itihas and Puranas. But if the Puranas are supposed to complete, then they are also of the same quality. So anyway, this discussion is there. Prabhupada is writing how Purana give explanation of the Vedas, the formulas which are there in Vedanta Sutra, Vedas or Upanishads. The explanation, detailed explanations are there in the Puranas. There are 18 Puranas. Yeah. Foolish people say the Puranas, they men are conducting mode of goodness, the Puranas are divided. Yeah. Okay. Fifth. Munaya sadhu prushtoham.
Munaya sadhu prishtoham.
Bhavadbhir lokamangalam. Yat kritah Krishna samprashno. Enatma suprasidati. Madan Mohan.
Translation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O sages, have been justly questioned by you. Your questions are worthy because they relate to Lord Krishna and so are of relevance to the world's welfare. Only questions of this sort are capable of completely satisfying the self-purpose. Since it has been stated here in before that in Bhagavatam, the absolute truth is to be known. The questions of the sages from Naimisharanya are proper and just because they pertain to Krishna, who is the supreme personality of Godhead, the absolute truth. In Bhagavad Gita 15.15, the personality of Godhead says that in all the Vedas, there is nothing but the earth for searching after him, Lord Krishna. The questions that pertain to Krishna are the sum and substance of all Vedic inquiries. The whole world is full of questions and answers. The birds, beasts, and men are all busy in the matter of perpetual questions and answers. In the morning, the birds in the nest become busy with questions and answers. And in the evening also, the same birds come back and again become busy with questions and answers. Human beings, unless he is fast asleep at night, is busy with questions and answers. The businessmen in the market are busy with the question and answers. And so also the lawyers in the court and the students in the schools and colleges. The legislator in the parliament are also busy with questions and answers. And the politicians and the press representatives are all busy with questions and answers. Although they go on making such questions and answers for the whole lives, they are not at all satisfied. Satisfaction of the soul can only be obtained by questions and answers on the subject of Krishna. Krishna is our most
Great. Yes.
Krishna is our most intimate master, friend, father, or son, and object of conjugal love. Forgetting Krishna, we have created so many objects of questions and answers, but none of them are able to give us complete satisfaction. All things but Krishna give temporary satisfaction only. So, if we are to have complete satisfaction, we must take to the questions and answers of Krishna. We cannot live for a moment without being questions or without giving answers, because the Srimad Bhagavatam deals with the questions and answers that are related to Krishna. We can derive the highest satisfactions only by reading and hearing this transcendental literature. One should learn the Srimad Bhagavatam and make an all-round solution to all problems pertaining to social, political, or religious matters. Srimad Bhagavatam and Krishna are the sum total of all things.
So question and answers. So he is actually glorifying that these questions are so wonderful because they deal with the topic of Lord Krishna and they are going to benefit everyone. Manaya sadhu prishtoham bhavadbhir lokamangalam yat krita Krishna samprashno yenatma suprasidati. one can be fully satisfied by these question and answers. Otherwise, people are asking so many different questions, but they are still, their life is still a question mark. They are not happy, they are not satisfied. So these kind of questions are very important. So they have asked 6 questions. They are so glorious questions for the benefit of everybody. And Parikshit Maharaj has asked 2 questions. So these questions are so very important for the whole humanity. But now different people ask different questions. What Prabhupada has given, who all ask questions in this world? Who all are asking questions? Different questions?
All the
This
people.
question I am asking.
Birds,
Yes.
politicians.
Politicians, then
Lawyers.
lawyers.
Birds.
Prabhuji, birds, beasts, men, then birds in the morning, then birds in the evening, then human beings,
Students.
Students.
businessmen,
And
lawyer,
then
legislator, student,
They're all asking questions.
politicians,
Yeah.
press representatives.
So they are all asking questions, but they are not satisfied with those questions and answers. Although they may ask questions and they may get answers also. Or there is that, what is called, Aapki Adalat. You see, na? Aapki Adalat mein, they bring various big leaders and then they ask question to him. And then he give answer, and there are people who clap, and then they criticize and condemn. So everybody is fond of question and answers. The reporters, they also want to ask question and draw out something masala and spread out. And people are so much eagerly waiting for the news. Aaj ka kya? Aaj ki taza khabar kya hai? So everybody is eager. Question and answer and question and answer and question and answer. But nobody asks such questions. What is the ultimate good for humanity? What is the essence of all scripture? Why Lord appears? What Lord does in his incarnations? Where the religious principles have taken shelter. ऐसे प्रश्न कोई पूछता ही नहीं, सब फालतू के प्रश्न है कि इस व्यक्ति ने इतना बड़ा घोटाला किया है, तो ये कैसे किया, कैसे मुमकिन हुआ, कैसे किया उसने, scam, somebody has done scam, and some country attacks some other country, and they will ask how they did. So all these questions and answers, they never satisfied the soul. Yena atma suprasidati only happens when the questions are yat krita Krishna samprashno, when the questions are related to Krishna. So one has to know what questions and answers will satisfy. Similarly, Vidura is asking various questions to Maitreya, and Maitreya Muni is answering, and they are related to Krishna. That's why both are satisfied. One is asking question and one is giving answer. Both are happy. So such is the glories of question answers related to Krishna. It fully satisfies one. The Srimad Bhagavatam is such question and answers. So when we read such thing, actually the heart becomes completely satisfied by this question and answers. So once one reporter came to Srila Prabhupada, and this reporter asked Srila Prabhupada that, Swamiji, you are always chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. My question to you is, whole life you have chanted Hare Krishna. At the end of your life, if you come to know that there is no Krishna, what will happen? If at the end of life, if you know that there is no Krishna, then the whole life you have just struggled and struggled and struggled. So what is the use? Then Prabhupada said, that see, you are saying that suppose we consider there is no Krishna, still we had a very nice lifestyle. We did chanting Hare Krishna, we took prasad, we dance, we heard Srimad Bhagavatam. Everything is so blissful, wonderful. We had a good time in our life. But just imagine, at the end of your life, you come to know that there is Krishna. Then what will happen to you? Because you have done all sinful activities in this life, and then you suffered in this life, and then Krishna will come as a death, and he'll punish you in next life. So both life you are miserable. But for us, this life we have enjoyed, and we know Krishna is there, and next life we'll go back to Krishna. So ours is win-win situation, and yours is lose-lose situation. So like that, this question was asked. So many reporters would ask question to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada will give such a dashing and powerful answer that they will keep quiet. They will not be able to speak. And Prabhupada would condemn somebody, criticize when the question is not practical also. Once Prabhupada went to MIT, the MIT in Boston, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And then he gave a lecture, and at the end, one fellow asked, Swamiji, what is this clay marking? Like a bird dropping on your head. He asked Prabhupada. ये आपके सर पे क्या लगाया है आपने ये? It looks like a bird has dropped his stool on your head. That's what he asked. What is this, Swami? Why you wear like this? So Prabhupada immediately said, tell me why you have wore this line around your neck, this tie. Why you have worn? What is the reason? You tell. And the student was wearing a tie, and he looked at this tie and he was thinking, why I have wore this? What is the use of this? He started thinking, what is the use of this tie? And then he couldn't find the answer. And then Prabhupada said, you should ask questions which are relevant, which are practical. Don't ask any utpatang prashna. Why you are wearing this? It's like a bird dropping. Tell me why you are wearing the tie. He didn't know only why he is wearing the tie. So absurd inquiry and blind faith are condemned. Absurd inquiry means ask anything and everything just to test the speaker. Absurd inquiry. And blind faith. Blind faith means jo bhi speaker, whatever is saying, we believe. No, ask relevant questions. One should ask questions, but they should be relevant. So that's what Prabhupada would appreciate, not anything and everything. So question answers are very important, and the question and answers which are related to Krishna actually satisfies the soul. Yena atma suprasidati. So do you know the story of Bhaktivedanta Saraswati and Madan Mohan Malviya? He had a question. He had a lot of questions. Madan Mohan Malviya. Who is Madan Mohan Malviya? Who was he?
Founder of BHU. Founder of Banaras Hindu University.
Founder of Banaras Hindu University. Very big person. So he founded, and he came to meet Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur once, and he had a lot of questions. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur understood that a very big person has come. So he said, yes, I'll answer your questions, but before that, we need some help. He said, yeah, I want help. There you see in the kitchen, there is one devotee washing the pots of the deities. Can you help him? And then when that is done, then you come. And then he went, Madan Mohan Malviya. And he went and washed the pots along with the devotee for almost an hour. And then later came back. And then Bhaktivedanta Thakur said, you had some question? Please tell me. He said, all my questions are answered just by washing the pots. So along with question answers, along with asking questions, we should also do some service. Those answers then will sink inside. Otherwise, just we ask question, we hear answer, ask question, hear answer. So that will not sink inside. For realization of those answers, one has to do some service. So tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnen sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarsha. So sevaya is also a very important part. So along with asking question, one should render service so that the answers which we hear, those go within deep. That is synced. Yeah. Okay. So anybody has any question till now? Clear, no? So questions related to Krishna, they will satisfy. Yat mune sadhu pushtaham. So if you have a question, you can ask in middle also, you can raise hand. Okay, so we'll go to 6th verse. Savai pumsa paro dharmo
paro dharmo
yato bhakti radhokshaje
Yato bhakti adhokshaje
ahituke apratihata
ahetuki apratihata
ayatmasu prasidati.
Yatmasu prasiddhati.
Yashika हो जा मतलब
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Translation: the supreme occupation, dharma for the all humanity is that by which men can attain.
Sandeep Sambhuspur, you can mute your mic. Mic is on. Others should mute when somebody is reading. Yes, now start.
The translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The supreme occupation, dharma for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this statement, Sri Suta Goswami answers the first question of the sages of Naimisharanya. The sages asked him to summarize the whole range of revealed scriptures and present the most essential part so that fallen people or the people in general might easily take it up. The Vedas prescribe two different types of occupation for the human beings. One is called the pravritti marg or the path of sense enjoyment, and the other is called the nivritti marg or the path of renunciation. The path of enjoyment is inferior, and the path of sacrifice for the supreme cause is superior. The material existence of the living being is a diseased condition of actual life. Actual life is spiritual existence or Brahma Bhut existence, where life is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. Material existence is temporary, illusory, and full of miseries. There is no happiness at all. There is just the futile attempt to get rid of the miseries and the temporary cessation of misery is falsely called happiness. Therefore, the path of progressive material enjoyment, which is temporary, miserable, and illusory, is inferior. But the devotional service to the Supreme Lord, which leads one to the eternal, blissful, and the all-cognizant life, is called the superior quality of occupation. This is sometimes polluted when mixed with the inferior quality. For example, adoption of devotional service for material gain is certainly an obstruction to the progressive path of renunciation. Renunciation or abnegation for ultimate good is certainly a better occupation than enjoyment in the diseased condition of life. Such enjoyment only aggravates the symptoms of disease and increases its duration. Therefore, devotional service to the Lord must be pure in quality, that is, without the least desire for material enjoyment. One should therefore accept the superior quality of occupation in the form of devotional service of the Lord without any tinge or unnecessary desire, fruitive action, or philosophical speculation. This alone can lead one to perpetual solace in his service. We have purposely denoted dharma as occupation, because the root meaning of the dharma is that which sustains one's existence. A living being's sustenance of existence is to coordinate his activities with his eternal relation to the Supreme Lord Krishna. Krishna is the central pivot of living beings, and he is the all-attractive living entity or eternal form amongst all other living beings or eternal forms. Each and every living being has its eternal form in the spiritual existence, and Krishna is the eternal attraction of all of them. Krishna is the complete whole, and everything else is his part and parcel. The relation is one of the servant and the served. It is transcendental and is completely distinct from our experience in material existence. This relation of servant and the served is the most congenial form of intimacy. One can realize it as devotional service progresses. Everyone should engage himself in that transcendental loving service of the Lord, even in the present conditional state of a material existence. That will gradually give one the clue to actual life and please him to complete satisfaction.
So here answered the first question. Savai pumsa paro dharmo. So what is the ultimate good? Ultimate good is pure devotional service, is the ultimate good for all humanity. Clear cut answer is there. Savai pumsa paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaye ahitukiya pratyata ye atma suprasidati. So pure devotional service means how it should be unmotivated and uninterrupted. Ahituki apratyata. Ahituki means without any motivation, and apratyata means without any interruption. Such devotional service actually satisfies the soul. So that is the ultimate good. So then Prabhupada is writing, the happiness in this world that cannot satisfy material pleasure. So there are two types of marg. One is pravrutti marg and one is nivrutti. Pravrutti marg means along with your duty for religious duty dharma, you also do some sense gratification. So that is a mixture of sense gratification and dharma. So that is not actually paro dharma. Savai pumsa paro dharma. Ultimate dharma nahi ho. So that dharma is pravrutti marg is a mixture of some enjoyment and then some religiosity. But nivrutti marg is fully focused on moksha or going back to Godhead. So it is not mixed with any sense gratification. So pravrutti and nivrutti, Prabhupada is writing. So nivrutti is direct path and pravrutti is indirect path, ultimately leading there. So pravrutti marg, we see the example in Bhagavatam comes of Daksha. So Daksha is a famous example for pravrutti marg, who actually is also doing dharma, but along with dharma, he is also having so many desires for enjoying in this world. So that is Daksha. That is pravrutti. And nivrutti marg is all the great souls, pure devotees who are doing pure devotional service. Nivrutti marg is direct. It's like we have Prahlad Maharaj. And we have like, who is that? Jada Bharat. He was completely detached, no desire for sense gratification at all. Jada Bharat. So, or like Shukadeva Goswami. They are on the path of Nivrutti marg. And Pravrutti marg is somebody who is mixing devotional service and sense gratification. That is Pravrutti marg. So it doesn't satisfy the heart completely. So what Prabhupada would say another name for pure devotional service? What another name Prabhupada gave for pure devotional service? In many places he will write. What do you think? You must have read some of Prabhupada's books, no? Small books.
So another name in English only?
English, yes. Yes, Sandeep Pro.
Krishna Consciousness.
Pure devotional service को क्या नाम दिया? Pure devotional service. So once Prabhupada was going in New York along with his disciples in morning walk, and then when they came on the road, they saw a big bridge like this on the road, and on that bridge was made up of complete steel, and on that it was written unalloyed steel on the bridge. And Prabhupada said, what is the meaning of unalloyed? And then the disciple said, unalloyed means pure steel. And it was a very nice word. Then he started using in his books. What you would say?
Unalloyed devotion.
Unalloyed devotional service. Unalloyed means there is no alloy. Alloy is what? Some other metal. It is mixed with the metal. That alloy, we say alloy. So unalloy doesn't have any alloy. Unalloyed devotional service, that is pure devotional service, that only satisfies. If it is mixed with material endeavors, material pleasure, material sense gratification, then it will not completely satisfy. It will satisfy to some extent, but it will not completely satisfy. That's why Prabhupada would say sense gratification and Krishna consciousness go dash. Ill together. Sense gratification and material happiness goes ill together. They do not go together. You cannot be enjoying also and then doing devotional service also. So that will be very, very slow process. It will not be fast. It will not fully satisfy. So it's like eating sweet rice mixed with sand. Anybody has experience of eating sweet rice mixed with sand? No? So how it will feel? You would like to eat like that? Sweet rice mixed with sand. Well, you come to temple, NVCC, and there is a big feast, there is fasting till noon, and you have fasted for so long, and now then after everything function is over, then there is nice prasadam is served, and you stand in such a great, big line is there. Oh, you see, and in NVCC there's so big line and festivals, and then finally you get the plate of prasadam after standing in line for a long time, and there is nice sweet rice, which is your favorite, and when you eat, you feel like there is sand in the sweet rice. How will you feel? What will be your experience? Anuj, go ahead, Prabhu. What do you feel? Eat.
Better not to eat.
Better not to eat. What about Madan Mohan Prabhu? What do you feel?
Will not have satisfaction for eating.
Will not feel satisfaction. Complete satisfaction. Sweet rice अच्छा भी लग रहा है, but sand भी है. अच्छा भी लग रहा है थोड़ा. बीच में like थोड़ा you eat little bit and then again. So you will not be fully happy. Little happy, little miserable. So that is like doing devotional service also and sense gratification also. Pravritti marg. So we should not mix together. So direct path, that is best, pure devotional service. Yenatma suprasiddhati, that will actually satisfy the soul completely. So the material happiness, however one may do, try to get pleasure. It will not satisfy us because it has limitations. Just imagine, actually there is one acronym, FIT. FIT is what? The attempts for material pleasure. So most of the time they become futile. We don't get what we want. The kind of sense gratification I want most of the time I don't get. So F stands for futile. The endeavors for getting material pleasures become futile because material pleasure is very limited and there are so many people wanting that. Suppose a boy is after a girl and she is very beautiful and then he is after her and he wants to achieve her, but there are so many competition for him. And in spite of his lot of endeavors, he will not be able to impress her because there are so many others. So first is futile. Our endeavor for sense gratification is futile. Then even if he achieves, and the girl also is attracted to this boy, and the boy is attracted to the girl, and he achieves the girl, his favorite dream girl. Then second problem is insubstantial. Means even after achieving the sense object, that sense object doesn't give us complete happiness. The expectation which we have from that sense object actually is not fulfilled fully. That the sense object. Is it not? The sense object which we hanker, ultimately even if we get, first of all, we don't get most of the time, futile. Even if we get, it doesn't satisfy us fully. Insubstantial. And even if suppose that girl is like the girl which you dreamt for and you wanted, and such a girl, she exists and you go and the few times you achieve also her, and even if she gives the pleasure also fully, still third problem is what? FIT. T stands for temporary. Temporary means even if you get the sense object, it fully satisfies, it is temporary. It will satisfy you for some time. That's gone. So that is the story of material pleasure. So that's why Jayabir Maharaj says, just like there is called oxymoron. You know oxymoron, that is figure of speech. So just like there was a deafening silence in the hall. Deafening silence is what? There are two opposite words. Deafening means so loud. Silence means, how can there be a loud silence? There was a deafening silence. He is little too busy today. Little and too, both words are exactly opposite. When two opposite words are used together, it is called oxymoron. You have studied oxymoron in your schools or no? I don't know whether you remember. Figures of speech.
Yes.
Oxymoron means two opposite words placed together to give an impact. Is little too busy. There was a deafening silence. Anybody knows any example? Oxymoron.
Prabhuji, I have.
Who?
Anand Mohandas here.
Yes.
She is a chaste prostitute.
Acha. She's a chaste prostitute. Okay.
I mean, this is from Chaitanya Prabhu's one of the class.
Okay. Acha. Okay. So the two opposite words are used. So Jayadvaita Maharaj says, similarly, material pleasure is an oxymoron. Material pleasure means matter and pleasure. They are exactly opposite. Matter cannot give pleasure. Material pleasure is actually oxymoron. So, material pleasure, only in spiritual life you can get pleasure. Material pleasure doesn't exist. There is material and pleasure. They are exactly opposite words. They are oxymoron. So whenever we get attracted to something, we should remember FIT example. FIT. Futile, insubstantial, and temporary. So Prabhupada is writing here how that everybody is trying to gain happiness, but they are ultimately frustrated. So if we try to mix devotional service and material happiness, we will ultimately not be fully satisfied. So that's why ahituki apratihata ye atma suprasiddhati. So only pure devotional service can satisfy. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the answer to the first question. So what was the second question? What was the second question?
What is the essence of all scriptures?
So that answer will be in the next verse. Vasudeve Bhagavati
Vasudeve Bhagavati
Bhakti Yoga Prayojita
Bhakti Yoga
Janayati Asu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yahetukam. What we'll do, we'll have a 5 minutes break, then we'll continue. We'll go to 5 minutes break we'll have. We'll again assemble and start with the 7th verse. Okay?
One quick announcement. Tomorrow's class would be from 3 to 4 p.m. and it will be by Shakshi Chitru will be discussing some class policies and also about how to solve open book assignment.
Yes, now Raj Gauri Mataji and you can read. Either of you.
By rendering devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. Therefore, those who consider devotional service to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna to be something like material emotional affairs may argue that in the revealed scriptures, sacrifice, charity, austerity, knowledge, mystic powers, and similar other processes of transcendental realizations are recommended. According to them, bhakti or devotion or the devotional service of the Lord is meant for those who cannot perform the high grade activities. Generally, it is said that the bhakti cult is meant for the Shudras, Vaishyas, and the less intelligent woman class. But that is not the actual fact. Bhakti cult is the topmost of all transcendental activities, and therefore it is simultaneously sublime and easy. It is sublime for the pure devotees who are serious about getting in contact with the Supreme Lord, and it is easy for the neophytes who are just on the threshold of the house of bhakti. To achieve the contact of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna is a great science, and it is open for all living beings, including the Shudras, Vaishyas, women, and even those lower than the low-born Shudras. So, what to speak of the high-class men like the qualified Brahmanas and the great self-realized kings? The other high-grade activities designated as sacrifice, charity, austerity, etc., are all corollary factors following the pure and scientific bhakti cult. The principles of knowledge and detachment are two important factors on the path of transcendental realization. The whole spiritual process leads to perfect knowledge of everything, material and spiritual. And the results of such perfect knowledge are that one becomes detached from material affection and becomes attached to spiritual activities. Becoming detached from material things does not mean becoming inert altogether, as men with a poor fund of knowledge think. Nishkarma means not undertaking activities that will produce good or bad effects. Negation does not mean negation of the positive. Negation of the non-essentials does not mean negation of the essential. Similarly, detachment from material form does not mean nullifying the positive form. The bhakti cult is meant for realization of the positive form when the positive form is realized and the negative forms are automatically eliminated. Therefore, with the development of the bhakti cult, with the application of positive service to the positive form, one naturally becomes detached from inferior things and he becomes attached to the superior things. Similarly, the bhakti cult, being the supermost occupation of the living being, leads him out of the material sense enjoyment. This is the sign of a pure devotee. He is not a fool, nor is he engaged in the inferior energies, nor does he have material values. This is not possible by dry reasoning. It actually happens by the grace of the Almighty. In conclusion, one who is a pure devotee has all other good qualities, namely knowledge, detachment, etc. But one who has only knowledge or detachment is not necessarily well acquainted with the principles of the bhakti cult. Bhakti is the supermost occupation of the human being. Hare Krishna.
So, so here, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayate Asu Vairagyam Jnanam Jayat Ahitukam. So this is the answer to the second question. What is the essence of all scriptures? And the answer is Bhakti Yoga. So the answer for both two questions is that Bhakti and the process of Bhakti, Bhakti Yoga. So the ultimate good is Bhakti, and what is the essence of scriptures is the process of Bhakti. So there Bhakti Yoga is what actually is the essence of all scriptures. And by this Bhakti Yoga, how to know that one is developing this Bhakti Yoga, one is on the path of process of Bhakti Yoga. Then Janayati Asu Vairagyam Jnanam Jayat Ahitukam. Vairagya and Jnana automatically develops in a person who is actually doing bhakti. So sometimes somebody asks question, how to know whether I am progressing in bhakti or not? So how to know we are progressing path of bhakti? Our detachment from this material world is increasing, and jnanam, that is actually knowledge about the Lord, is increasing. So here the knowledge, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, the knowledge doesn't mean the knowledge of the dry knowledge of the Vedas. This knowledge means the knowledge of Lord's form, qualities, and sweetness. So this is the knowledge of Lord's form, qualities, pastime, sweetness. This knowledge goes on increasing. So the knowledge of the Lord increases and the detachment from this world increases. So that is the symptom of one who is actually on the path of bhakti. So our acharyas give two meanings of vairagya. Vairagya means, who can tell what is the meaning of actual meaning of vairagya? Vairagya. How this word has come? Can anybody try?
Attachment to pleasure.
What is vairagya? Yes.
Rag means attachment. Without any attachment is fit.
Okay. Rag means attachment. And
without any attachment is vairagya.
Rag means attachment and vai means no. And that is called vairagya, means no attachment, detachment. That is one meaning. Another meaning is Vishishtara. Vairagya means Vishishtara, means special attachment. Special attachment for what? Unless we develop special attachment for the Lord, we cannot develop detachment from this material. So Vairagya has two meanings. One is Vairagya. Rag means attachment to material world. Vai means no attachment to this material world. But along with that, also Vairagya means Vishishta Rag for Lord Krishna. We have special attachment for Lord Krishna. That is also a higher meaning of Vairagya. So Vairagya also means special attachment to Krishna. So unless and until we have attachment, then we cannot develop detachment from this world. So this path of bhakti, when one is advancing bhakti yoga, that means these two symptoms has to be there. One's knowledge for the Lord is increasing and one's detachment from this world is also increasing. Otherwise, if detachment is not increasing, that means there is something wrong. So we are not actually following the process rightly. So there is first attention. Attention gives rise to attraction. Attention gives rise to attraction. And then attraction gives rise to attachment. Attachment. And then when attachment gives rise to affection. And then affection gives rise to absorption. So these are the 5 A's, if you remember. So first is attention. Attention gives rise to
attraction.
Attraction. Attention gives rise to attraction. Then attraction gives rise to
Attachment.
attachment. Then attachment gives rise to
Affection.
affection. Then affection gives rise to
Absorption.
absorption. These are the 5 A's which are true with spiritual life also and material life also. So if you give attention to some person and more and more and more attention, then that will lead to attraction for that person. And then attraction for that person will give rise to attachment. Then attachment gives rise to affection. Affection gives rise to then absorption. So that is also true with Lord Krishna. So, so here it is said that Bhakti Yoga means The path of process of Bhakti Yoga means we are developing Vishishta Rag for Krishna. We are developing special attachment for Lord Krishna. That is Vairagya. Also, Jnanam. Also, we are developing knowledge for Krishna. Or Vairagya also means when we are developing detachment from this material. So, Vairagya has two meanings, double meaning. So, Prabhupada would many times condemn the so-called yogis or transcendentalists who would say Bhakti means devotion. मेरे हृदय में भगवान के प्रति बहुत डिवोशन है, बहुत प्रेम है. But if they are asked to do something, they won't do it. So Prabhupada, that's why translated Bhakti as a devotional service. So when you have devotion for the Lord, when you have love for the Lord, you will do some service. Otherwise, what is the use of that devotion? उसका क्या अचार बना के खाओगे? The devotion means service. Love means service. If a boy tells to the girl that I love you, and the girl asks, please bring me something. He asks, please bring me nice clothes from the market, costliest of the sari or like that. And he says, no, that I cannot do, but I love you. And that love is useless. Love means service. So that's why Prabhupada would always translate devotional service. So Bhakti means devotional service, not just devotion. So the essence of all the scriptures is devotional service. One should render some service. When the service is rendered, then actually the knowledge sinks in. Then it becomes wisdom. It becomes realized knowledge. Without service, it only remains knowledge. It only remains information. There is no transformation. So we want information or transformation?
Transformation.
Transformation happens when we do devotional service. So what was the difference between Prabhupada and all other his God brothers? His God brothers also tried to preach and tried to fulfill the instruction of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. But what was the specialty of Prabhupada that made him an edge over his God brothers, where they couldn't succeed but Prabhupada succeeded, was that Prabhupada made this bhakti or devotional service very practical. Very practical. So anybody and everybody can take to this process and practically do this in his life. But his God brothers, they presented bhakti as something very esoteric, very lofty, very transcendental, which only very few can take up to. Not everybody, common man cannot take up. So that was their contribution. So they couldn't succeed. But Prabhupada succeeded because he made this devotional service very practical. So that's why we are here. Otherwise, devotional service would be very rare. So he made it very, 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 very practical, down to earth. Prabhupada was saying that even that the drunkard who came inside, you know the story how he came drunk, and when Prabhupada was giving lecture, and then he kept that toilet tissue paper there. And Prabhupada said, see, even a drunkard is doing some service. Because the nature of the soul is to do service. So that is how practical Prabhupada would explain. And Prabhupada would be sitting in that big hall, 26nd Avenue, and he would give lecture. So there was a door to the right of Prabhupada. And on the door, there was a road which was going. So on the road, there were many vehicles, cars passing by. So Prabhupada was explaining the point of how the soul exists eternally. The body may manifest now, the body may not manifest later. Now we are seeing the body, later the body may not be there, but the soul always exists. So Prabhupada was saying, just see from the door, do you see the cars? All the hippies said, yes, we see the cars. And then Prabhupada said, see, now you see the car when it comes in the front of the door. But before it was the car there or not? All the hippies said, yes, car was there. And after the car goes ahead, will the car still exist? Yes, the car will still exist. Prabhupada said, similarly, the soul always exists in the previous life also, now also, and later also. Right now, we can feel the presence. We are in this body. But the soul existed. We existed before in different body. And then in future also, we'll exist in different body. The body dies, but the soul remains eternal. Then the hippies understood, the point became very clear to them. So that is how Prabhupada made devotional service very, very, very practical. So that was his contribution. So Bhakti Yoga is the essence and the essence and the essence of all the scriptures. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedesya sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda videha chaham. So from all the Vedas, what is to be known is Lord Krishna and the process to attain Krishna. That is the goal of all the scriptures. So that is the answer to the second question to the sages. Yeah. Now, 8 to 15, only bhakti is to be gained by one's work. That is the section from 8 to 15. How bhakti is the ultimate goal of all our work. So that will be a section from 8 to 15. Dharma swanushtitha pumsam Vishvaksena katha suya Notpadayed yadiratim Tamaeva hi kevalam. Himang Keshav Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Translation. The occupational activities a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead. Purport. There are different occupational activities in terms of man's different conceptions of life. To the gross materialist who cannot see anything beyond the gross material body, there is nothing beyond the senses. Therefore, his occupational activities are limited to concentrated and extended selfishness. Concentrated selfishness centers around the personal body. This is generally seen amongst the lower animals. Extended selfishness is manifested in human society and centers around the family, society, community, nation, and world with a view to gross bodily comfort. Above these gross materialists are the mental speculators who hover aloft in the mental spheres, and their occupational duties involve making poetry and philosophy or propagating some ism with the same aim of selfishness limited to the body and the mind. But above the body and mind is the dormant spirit soul, whose absence from the body makes the whole range of bodily and mental selfishness completely null and void. But less intelligent people have no information of the needs of the spirit soul. Because foolish people have no information of the soul and how it is beyond the purview of the body and mind, they are not satisfied in the performance of their occupational duties. The question of the satisfaction of the self is raised herein. The self is beyond the gross body and the subtle mind. He is the potent, active principle of the body and mind. Without knowing the need of the dormant soul, one cannot be happy simply with emolument of the body and mind. The body and the mind are but superfluous outer coverings of the spirit soul. The spirit soul's needs must be fulfilled. Simply by cleansing the cage of the bird, one does not satisfy the bird. One must actually know the needs of the bird himself. The need of the spirit soul is that.
Fine. Yeah. So, the occupational duty of man perform according to his own position are as much as useless labor. We don't provoke attraction for the message of unity of Godhead. So, only just following varnashram or doing our duty is not enough. it should actually provoke or it should actually inspire us to take to the process of bhakti. So varnashram in itself is not complete. What is the use of following occupational duty? Tyaktva swadharmam charanam bhujam hare janma bhakvotate pato yadit. That verse is there, where it is said that even if somebody gives up his dharma, but actually take to the process of devotional service, he is glorious. And the person who actually does his dharma very nicely, but doesn't conclude with devotional service, that dharma is useless. So that is tyaktva swadharmam charanam bhujam hare. So if one takes the process of bhakti, giving up his dharma, that is fine. But one who follows dharma perfectly, but actually doesn't come to the conclusion of bhakti, he is useless. Shrama eva hi kevalam. Where it is said that Shrama eva hi kevalam. So 3 words are used which mean the same thing. Shrama eva hi kevalam. Eva is what? Only. He is what? Only, certainly. Kevalam is certainly. So 3 words are used having the same meaning. Eva hi kevalam means that is only shram, that is only useless labor and nothing else, nothing else, nothing else. To emphasis, sometimes 3 times it is said. No? So, eva hi kevalam. These 3 words are having same meaning. So it is said that how it is such a useless labor to actually, when one does occupational duty very nicely, but doesn't perform bhakti or doesn't come to the conclusion of bhakti, useless labor. So Prabhupada, when he was once in Vrindavan, that time some scholars came to meet Prabhupada and they were discussing very intricate philosophy of Vedas and Upanishads. And Prabhupada said, let me ask you a simple question. Who is Supreme Personality of Godhead? They said, this is not a very easy question. We cannot answer it like this. It will require a lot of discussion. Prabhupada called there one Gurukul boy who was maybe 6-7 years old. And Prabhupada asked, who is Supreme Personality of Godhead? And the boy said, Krishna. And Prabhupada gave him one laddu. Then Prabhupada asked, who is Krishna? He said, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada gave another laddu. Prabhupada said, even our boy knows who is Supreme Personality of Godhead and you are the greatest scholar. You are Chatur Vedi, Three Vedi, but you don't know who is Krishna, who is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they said, Swamiji, the boy may know who is Krishna, who is Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the boy doesn't know how Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. That how he has unlimited qualities, how he is so great, that he doesn't know. Prabhupada said that even Krishna doesn't know. Even Krishna doesn't know his own greatness. Because as soon as he knows his greatness has already increased. So Prabhupada would not accept. So these scholars, they know all the Vedas, they know all the conclusions, and they follow Vedas perfectly, but they don't know the conclusion. Actual conclusion of the Vedas is what? That to develop attraction for the Supreme Personality of God. So there are 2 types of people. One is called Saragrahi and other is called Bharagrahi. So which one we should be?
Prabhuji, Saragrahi.
Saragrahi means?
Essence of everything.
One who takes the essence. Yes. So Saragrahi, which animal is compared, which living entity is compared to Saragrahi?
We separate but milk from water. Hans is considered. Yeah.
That is different.
Rajahamsa. Which
Saranga eva sarabu. That verse comes. So, huh?
It separates milk and water. When water and milk separate, it separates the water and
that is different. That is different.
Okay.
This sarang means which takes the essence of the flower.
Honeybee, Prabhu.
Honeybee takes the essence of the flower. That is actually called sarang, which takes the the flower. And which animal is compared to the bharagrahi?
S. Donkey.
Prabhuji, makhi.
Donkey.
Household.
Donkey.
Donkey is one who carries the weight. Bharagrahi. He is taking the weight. He is taking the weight of what? The clothes of the dhobi. And so heavy the clothes are, that the clothes the dhobi keeps, and ye dhote rehta hai gadha. And this donkey, he doesn't have any clothes to wear, but he is actually carrying so many clothes. That's why he's a donkey. And there is so much grass available around, but the donkey thinks if he doesn't take this load, he will not get to eat. His master will not feed him. But there is so much grass around, you can live very peacefully. But he thinks, no. The master will feed me, then only I'll be able to eat. That's why another name of donkey, you know what is donkey's name? Another?
Vaishakhananda.
Vaishakhananda. Means he becomes happy in Vaishak. Vaishak is which season?
Summer.
In summer he becomes happy. Why?
Because the grass is dry. And when he eats, he thinks that I'm eating a lot, I'm eating more. And so he becomes fat.
Vaishak Nandan. That's why he becomes happy in Vaishak, summer. And in other season, when the grass is green, he sees that so much grass is still there. He thinks, I have not eaten only, although he has eaten a lot. And that's why he becomes thin in winter and rainy season. But in summer season, he thinks grass is not there. That means I have eaten a lot, and he becomes fat. That's what Vaishakhanandan. That's why it's Gadha. So Gadha is a Bharagrahi, and the honeybee is the Saragrahi. So we have to be like the honey and not like a donkey. So that's what here it is saying. It's a useless labor. Shrama eva hi kevalam. All our activities ultimately should lead to devotional service. Jivan api mrito hisa. Dharmayat karmayat dharmaya na viragaya kalpate. That verse comes. Na karmayat dharmaya viragaya kalpate. Tirtha pada seva yai jivan api mrito hisa. So if our karma doesn't lead to dharma, and the dharma doesn't lead to vairagya, and that vairagya doesn't lead to devotion, then it is again the useless labor. Jivan api mruto hisa. We are like dead corpses. Na yat karma dharmaya. Karma should lead to dharma. Na yat karma dharmaya. Na viragaya kalpate. If that doesn't lead to vairagya. Na tirtha pada sevai jivan api mruto hisa. So if the karma doesn't lead to dharma, and the dharma doesn't lead to vairagya, and the vairagya doesn't lead to devotional service, then the person is actually living dead. This is another oxymoron. Jivan api mruto hisa. He is a living dead. Zinda murde. So if our activities doesn't lead to devotional service, one is living dead. Or one is like a bharagrahi, ass. That's what is heavy. Okay. Dharmasya hi apavargasya
अपवर्गस्य
नार्तो अर्थायोपकल्पते नार्थस्य धर्म एकान्तस्य कामो लाभाय हि स्मृता भालचंद्र सूर्यवंशी भालचंद्र सूर्यवंशी you have to unmute and then read. Bhalachandra Suryanshi, your sound is not.
I already that was chanted. Dharmasya apavargasya.
Actually, you read previously?
Read. Okay, I have not read. Translation, Prabhu.
Translate.
Translation. All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, according to suggests, one who is engaged in ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. Purport. We have already discussed that pure devotional service to the Lord is automatically followed by perfect knowledge. Am I audible?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, continue.
Automatically followed by the perfect knowledge and detachment from material existence. But there are others who consider that all kinds of different occupational engagements, including those of religion, are meant for material gain. The general tendency of an ordinary man is, in any part of the world, is to gain some material profit in exchange for religious or any other occupational service. Even in the Vedic literature, for all sorts of religious performances, an allurement of material gain is offered, and most people are attracted by such allurements or blessing of religiosity. Why are such so-called men of religion allured by material gain? Because material gain can be enable one to fulfill desire, which in turn satisfies sense gratification. This cycle of occupational engagements include so-called religiosity followed by material gain, and material gain followed by fulfillment of desires. Sense gratification is generally way for all sorts of fully occupied men. But in the statement of Sutta Goswami, as per the verdict of Srimad Bhagavatam, this is nullified by the present sloka. One should not engage himself in any sort of occupational service for material gain only, nor should material gain be utilized for sense gratification. However, how material gain should be utilized as described follows. As described follows.
Okay, thank you. So this verse is describing, what is describing? He धर्मस्य अपवर्गस्य न अर्थो अर्थाय कल्पते धर्मस्य एकांतस्य कामो लाभः हि स्मृता. So as we know, there are 4 purusharthas. Which are the 4 purusharthas?
Dharma, artha, kama. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha.
Artha, kama, moksha. Yes. So this dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So this dharma people do. Suryansh Prabhu, you can mute. Everybody can mute now.
Already muted, so, Prabhuji. Can mute karo? Shall I unmute?
Mute. No, mute. Mute it.
Okay. I'm in mute mode, Prabhuji.
Or keep it muted only. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So dharma, people do for what? Religious activity they do to achieve artha. And people, when they get artha, then they use it for kama. And then when one gets frustrated with kama, then one desires for moksha. So that is the general sequence. Dharma, artha, kam and moksha. People do dharma to gain artha, and then artha to fulfill the kama, and then kama is fulfilled. And then ultimately one man gets tired, and then one wants to achieve moksha. So that is the process. But here it is said, don't do like that. Don't do like that. Dharmasya hi apavargasya. Dharma should be used for moksha. Do dharma to achieve moksha. Okay, do dharma for moksha and not for artha. Don't use dharma for artha. Use dharma only to achieve moksha. But while doing dharma, then we get some artha also, na? Then what to do with that artha? Oh, when you do dharma for moksha, then there is some artha as a byproduct. Don't use that artha for kam. That is the meaning of this verse. Dharma hi apavargasya na artho अर्थायुपकल्पते नार्थस्य धर्म एकांतस्य कामो लाभाय ही स्मृता. कि आपका जो धर्म है वो मोक्ष के लिए करो, और धर्म करते वक्त कुछ अर्थ भी आ जाए तो वो अर्थ को काम में इस्तेमाल मत करो. तो फिर वो अर्थ को किस लिए इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए? फॉर व्हाट पर्पस टू यूज दैट अर्थ? So that artha should be used only, in next verse is given, only to keep your body and soul together. That's all. Don't earn so much that you try to fulfill all the desires. That is not to fulfill all the kamas, because the more you try to fulfill the kam only increases and increases and increases and increases. When you add ghee on fire, what will happen? What is the result? When you add ghee on fire, what happens?
Fire will grow.
Fire will grow or fire will go?
No, grow, not go.
Grow. But if you pour more ghee and lot of ghee, will the fire go? Huh?
Go.
But suppose
it will be in the form of smoke.
Achha. Okay, somebody else. What will happen if we add lot of ghee on the fire? Whether it will go or grow? Nobody knows. They have not done experiment. They can do this experiment then. Yes. What is the answer? If you put fire on the fire, if you put lot of ghee, whether the fire will go or grow? Yes,
the fire will go.
Huh?
It will be put off. The fire will go. Yeah.
Fire will grow.
Gopika Sundari Mataji saying, huh?
It will
grow.
Yeah.
Acha. Somebody said fire will go. Charanavrinda Prabhu, what do you say? Huh?
We have not done the experiment.
That's true, but you have to say by speculation. Anuman Praman.
No idea, Prabhuji.
What Vinay Nilambar Prabhu will say? If fire will go or grow.
So Prabhuji, if we add a lot of ghee and not let oxygen reach the fire, actually, then it will go actually. But if that quantity is limited, I mean, it will keep it burning actually. If oxygen is still reaching there, then it will keep burning.
Sashi Mukhi Haripriya Madari. What is the answer? Not able to hear.
Grow, Prabhuji. My
Huh?
understanding.
Grow.
Yes. Because ghee will ignite it more in my understanding.
Okay, fine. So the verse says that when you do dharma for the moksha, and don't do dharma for artha like normal people. And even when you do dharma, there will be some artha. Use that artha for keeping body soul together and not in fulfilling the kama. Artha should not be used for fulfilling the kama, because kama is such a thing, the more you add, more you fulfill the kama only grows. Now, just like a fire, if you put on a small candle lot of ghee, surely the fire will go out, extinguished. If you put some little ghee, then the fire will grow. But now if you same apply for us, the kama in our heart is like the candle or it's like a big fire.
Very big fire, Prabhuji.
For us, it is a big fire.
Yeah, for everybody, it's a big fire. The kama in the heart is a big fire. So if you add and try to fulfill it, then only it will increase. It may be true if the fire is small, if you pour a lot of ghee, it will extinguish. But with our kama, the kama is so much, if you fulfill it, then it will only grow. So that's why it is said that only fulfill the desire, that is to keep a healthy life. Means, jitna lagta hai utna. Don't be after so much money, wealth, and sense gratification. Ye chahiye, wo chahiye. There is no end. There is no end. So keep as much as which is required to keep body soul together, is required for the service. Utna kaam karo, utna earning karo. That is sufficient. Rest of the time, use the dharma for moksha. But now some people, sometimes some grahastha says, we want to earn so much that we can give lot of money to Krishna. And then what happens? You keep earning and earning and earning and earning and earning and there is no end. So Krishna ko dene ke to duri. So one keeps gets in that cycle only. So keep oneself in a position where one has sufficient and one can keep a healthy life along with the family. That is sufficient. One should not be too much hankering. So that's what next verse describes. That how much should we earn? How much we should collect? Kamasya nendriya priti.
Kamasendriya priti.
Labho jiveta yavata.
Labho jiveta.
Jivasya tattva jidnyasa. Nartho yasceha karmabhi. Here it is told. Okay, Vinay Nilambar.
Yes, Prabhuji. So translation by Srila Prabhupada. Life's desires should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation. Since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth, nothing else should be the goal of one's work. Now, purport by Srila Prabhupada. The completely bewildered material civilization is wrongly directed towards the fulfilling of desires in sense gratification. In such civilization, in all spheres of life, the ultimate end is sense gratification. In politics, social service, altruism, philanthropy, and ultimately in religion or even in salvation. The very same tint of sense gratification is ever increasingly predominant. In the political field, the leaders of men fight with one another to fulfill their personal sense gratification. The voters adore the so-called leaders only when promise sense gratification. As soon as the voters are dissatisfied in their own sense satisfaction, they dethrone the leaders. The leaders must always disappoint the voters by not satisfying their senses. The same is applicable in all other fields. No one is serious about the problem of life. Even those who are on the path of salvation desire to become one with the absolute truth and desire to commit spiritual suicide for sense gratification. But the Bhagavatam says that one should not live for sense gratification. One should satisfy the senses only in so much as required for self-preservation and not for sense gratification. Because the body is made of senses which also requires a certain amount of satisfaction, there are regulative directions for satisfaction of such senses. But the senses are not meant for unrestricted enjoyment. For example, marriage or the combination of a man with a woman is necessary for progeny, but it is not meant for sense enjoyment. In the absence of voluntary restraint, there is propaganda for family planning. But foolish men do not know that family planning is automatically executed as soon as there is search after the absolute truth. Seekers of the absolute truth are never allured by unnecessarily engagements in sense gratification because the serious students seeking the absolute truth are always overwhelmed with the work of researching the truth. In every sphere of life, therefore, the ultimate end must be seeking after the absolute truth. And that sort of engagement will make one happy because he will be less engaged in varieties of sense gratification. And what that absolute truth is explained as follows. Right.
So, here it is said that one should not acquire more than necessary. Whatever is required for self-preservation, that much one should have, and one should not excessively indulge in anything. The body is made up of senses and it requires some amount of satisfaction, sense gratification. That is under regulation is all right. But one does excessive unrestricted enjoyment, then there is problem. Whatever you do excessively, that leads to problem. So one can do sense gratification also with restraint. It's like salt. Salt, if it becomes too much, then the food gets spoiled. So even if you see, just like in traffic, when you go on the road, there is signal. So now people, when they see that there is signal, but there is nobody who is watching the signal, there is no police, then sometimes people brake and go. But when the police is there and the signal is there and everything is happening regulated way. So one situation is everything is chaos. Everybody is going this direct, nobody following regulation. Second thing is somebody is following regulation. Just a minute. Hare Krishna? Yes? हाँ 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 उधर ना आता हूँ मैं थोड़ी देर में. हाँ 2.5 किलो का बोला है ना. यस यस मैं आता हूँ, शाम को आता हूँ 6 साढ़े नहीं 6 बजे भी नहीं. मैं 6 साढ़े 6 के आसपास आऊंगा, 6:30. ठीक है. So in both situation, which situation the traffic will flow better? when there is regulation and where there is no regulation.
When there is regulation.
Yeah. So similarly, when we follow regulation in life, then actually that way we advance. And that way one can even enjoy the pleasures in the best way. But somebody does in unrestricted way, then he spoils himself also, his body also. So something does excessively, that is not materially good also. And spiritually, of course, it's suicide. One who follows regulation, even in sense gratification, that way materially also he becomes happy, satisfied, and spiritually also he advances. But it may seem, नहीं, कुछ सिग्नल नहीं रहेगा, पुलिस नहीं रहेगा, तो फटाफट हम जा सकते हैं और the traffic will be so smooth, one feels. No. When there is regulation, when there is police, when there is signal, one follows signal. लगता है कि थोड़ा रुकना पड़ता है, अरे क्या है, थोड़ा regulation, but that is more faster progress than no regulation. So that's why regulation is good even as material, for material progress and spiritual progress. Prabhupada is writing about this, that one should engage senses in sense gratification as much required. One should have wealth as much for self-preservation, but not too much. Too much of anything is dangerous. Atyahara prayasasya pradalva niyamagra janasangasya lolamsya chadvir bhaktir vinashyati. Atyahara also means collecting more than necessary, eating more than necessary, and collecting more than necessary. That includes atyahar. So this verse speaks that only. The dharma should be followed for moksha. Dharma should not be used for artha. But even if artha comes while following dharma, that artha should not be used for kama. That artha should be only used for self-preservation and not for satisfying the kama. So that is the logic formula for dharma, artha, kama, moksha. It should not be dharma करना है किसके लिए, अर्थ के लिए, अर्थ किस लिए चाहिए, काम के लिए, और काम से क्या होगा, मोक्ष. This is a normal logic everybody follows, but Bhagavatam doesn't follow this logic. Bhagavatam says dharma should be for moksha, and dharma करते वक्त कुछ अर्थ आ जाएगा. That artha should not be used for kama. That artha should be used for self-preservation and for performance of Krishna consciousness. So this is formula of purusharth, char purusharth, which Bhagavatam gives. Yeah, somebody has a question? Who is asking? Who is asking? Yeah, you can ask, Prabhu. There's no question. Sometimes we are satisfied in terms of Lakshmi and we are earning only to keep body and soul together, but pressure of society makes us worry. Example, money for kids, education, daughter marriage. What should be done? Achha. Yeah. So, what about there is pressure and then yeah, peer pressure. Iske paas ye gaadi hai. He has Mercedes and we have only Maruti 800. And he has, oh, just a minute. Hare Krishna? Event management. Yes. हा किचन मध्ये मग ते भरून ठेवतील, आपण नंतर कलेक्ट करू. ते यश प्रभू असतील, यश प्रभू 3 डब्बे द्या. ठीक आहे. हा माझं नाव सांगा बघ, त्यांना बोललं मी. Okay. I have another class, 5 o'clock. Okay, so about the peer pressure and somebody has something more, and then what about us and should we earn? Actually, we have to understand that just by earning more or having more, one doesn't necessarily become happy. This, if we are convinced, then we will not become so much attached. So, of course, kids for money and for the kids and for a daughter's marriage, and that is, of course, comes in the self-preservation only. So you have to give money for their education or for marriage. That comes in the self-preservation. But over means actually what is not necessary, still one does over endeavor for collecting. So that individually one has to know that where is over. So if one is doing over, so that is condemned. But if somebody is earning money for the family in future, they may require, or for the kids, or for marriage, as somebody said. So that is, of course, comes in the self-preservation only, self-preservation. So, but at certain point, when we understand this is actually atyahar, this is too much. So one himself will get an indication that ye zyada ho raha hai. So that should not be done just because of peer pressure. Because if one understands that money is not directly proportional to happiness, the first most happiest country, according to the World Happiness Index, I had seen some years back, was, I think, Denmark, Denmark or some, which is not a very prosperous country or like that. Denmark is a normal country. So the most richest country may not be the happiest. So similarly with us also, not if I have a lot of things, then that will make us happy. Happy small things, the relationship, there is happiness in that. The money cannot buy that. In Krishna consciousness, there is happiness. So these small things gives happiness. So that you cannot find by earning. So this, if you understand, then we will not be so much affected by the pressure. As Chaitanya Prabhu says, last point I will just say, that the poor people, they are uncomfortably miserable, and the rich people, they are comfortably miserable. So which is better? Hare Krishna? कौन बोल रहा है? तो मैं तुम्हाला 5-10 मिनिटात फोन करतो, आता मी क्लासमध्ये. So which is better? Comfortably miserable or uncomfortably miserable? Yes, Charanarvinda Prabhu.
Both are not good, Prabhuji.
Both are not
Both
good.
are miserable. Both are miserable.
Yeah. So we have to understand, those who have a lot of things, lot of bank balance, they are comfortably miserable. And we may not have many things, some things, little bit what are required for self-preservation, we are uncomfortably miserable. There is not much difference in both. And so to earn so much and do hard work like donkey for coming from uncomfortable miserable to comfortable miserable is foolishness. So that's why what we have to do is we have to get out of this miserable world. That should be the goal. So we should have things for self-preservation, but not more than that. So that is what the verse says. Okay, so we'll end here. I have another class at 5 o'clock. We'll meet then next time. So tomorrow, of course, Saksha Chukru is taking a session. We'll have them next weekend. Okay. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanand.
Hare Krishna.